You're welcome. Can you hear me, Lance? Lance, can you hear me? Lance, can you hear me?
This music down. This is an unexpected treat for so many people who have tuned in. And once again, we have Brother Dave Wren, Brother Dave of ProsperityMint.com. And he is a wealth of knowledge. He's in it to win it. And he's a man who has his boots on the ground, experience-wise. And when he speaks, we have to listen. And we never really give our own the credit they deserve when they've mastered a certain area of expertise. But Brother Dave is one who has. He's not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that. And he has helped me and is helping me through so much in my life, not just on an informational level, but just on a spiritual level, on a just I got your back level. And I have crossed many, how could I put it? I've crossed over to many new levels because I had him by my side, encouraging me and undergirding me and just being there. And I have to thank you, brother, for all that you've done for me. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say tonight.
Talk to me, as always, we do the same for each other. Can you hear me well?
Yes. What I did, instead of having these big clunky headphones on, I have to change soon. I turn the volume up on them and I have it off of my head so I can hear it. But if you hear any feedback, let me know. But I haven't turned to the right amount of, but I'm good. I can hear you loud and clear from right over there.
Okay, great. No, I hear you loud and clear. I just wanted to make sure. Lance, it's so funny. Every time we do a show, I think we always go back to the first time that we actually spoke to each other.
Yes,
because that was such a great moment that I will never forget, and it really
I will never forget it. Yeah.
I know exactly where I was. I know where I was coming from, where I was going. I can pretty much can have an idea of where I was in a car driving back from Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
And I know exactly where we were. We had a little communique through text. And then we, got each other's number and we called, and instantly, as soon as we started, it was pretty much, and it spearheaded where we are now and where we're going. And just like, you helped me out so much, and I appreciate you. And man, it's just pure. Like, it's so funny because we haven't met in person yet.
but look, there are people who see each other every day and who have met in person, who are in each other's lives, and they don't have the righteous intimacy and close proximity.
Yeah,
they will never know it, because being close and face to face doesn't always ensure that you're going to have that feeling and have that I love you righteously very much. Many miles apart, even more so than before. But it shows that there's another level to our existence more than the physical proximity of being near each other. There's a spiritual element, and that bond, no matter what, can never die. Like I say about my parents who have transitioned, wherever they are, they love me and I love them. Yeah. So we're here on this earth together. I love you, you love me righteously. Yeah. Yeah. If one of us transition, that doesn't change. Wherever I am, I always feel you, think highly of you, and love you very much for who you are.
Just like our brother Roz, it's no different. And I think it's so important that physical presence doesn't have to show or is not an indication of full love.
That's right.
It's the energy. Right. It's the energy, and energy is greater than what is, I firmly live by, I believe that what's unseen is more real than what's seen.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, because without the unseen, see, when we have the seen, that's a little bit. Yeah. It's mostly the unseen. Isn't that something? And until I put you on the screen, give you center screen, I'm going to put myself here because I feel like I'm rude if I had you here and I'm looking the other way. So this way I can angle. It's like I'm looking at you instead of giving you.
That's tight. Yeah.
See, when I had it this way, my computer's here. And I have to look at it, but it looks like I'm, little
production tricks. See, little production tricks. You don't get to be a master of things just by doing something once.
I learned that from watching you, brother.
This isn't new to you.
And if you see me look down, I'm not being rude by looking at my phone. I'm actually going to share the link as we talk to different platforms so that everybody knows that we're out here doing the thing.
You do your thing, Lance, and as you do it oh so well. But we were just talking about, it's so true that the unseen is more eternal than the seen, because the seen is a state, is not eternity, And so I'm a big proponent of that. And once again, Lance, I'm just looking forward to just growing and doing so much more with you. A couple of updates that we're going to do. We were going to have our May seminar here in Dallas, Texas, the weekend of the 20th to the 23rd. Well, we changed it because of this. I changed it. It's just going to be a webinar, because of this. Yeah, because we're going through uncharted. Well, it's charted before, but we're going through unfamiliar times globally.
Yes.
And the price of the tickets, we're 6 weeks away from it, and they were already at $1,200 for some people. I don't want people to bear that type of cost.
Okay.
And then not only that, by time May comes around, I tell you this, the whole geopolitical world could be totally, the deck chairs could be definitely changed in a very bad way. And I don't want my clients to be put out. So we're going to change it to where it's just going to be a webinar. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I just wanted you to know that. And I meant to tell you that yesterday.
Look, the information, we don't want to put anybody in a spot where even if they traveled and different things happen, you never know what can happen in this unpredictable world. And we have already so many factors involved, as you so beautifully said and shared, that we're more aware because of you and the things that you shared. And we know that like anything can happen. So the webinar would be the safest thing. It would be the safest thing.
Yep. So that's what we're going to do. And then once things settle down, we'll get back to our in-person seminars and everything else. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to you coming and being here for those events, because we got, and also actually doing some events, on the continent, would be a beautiful thing and necessary to do, because we're for those of us that are preparing, we're going to have a great deal of opportunities from our responsible decisions that we've made, the real decisions that were made in discipline. Now that's going to give us a great amount of opportunities. And so we're definitely going to jump all in on that. So
just have to see, the sound is good, the screen is good, looking good, everything's good.
Well, let's go. So we wanted to, before we get started, I would just ask, we all make mistakes, Lance, in some of our shows and our presentations. I just would always ask, please never take me out of context, my comments out of context. Everyone, there's a burden of truth, right? Someone can very easily make a mistake in something. And what I really found, Lance, is that people the general mass that don't really want to engage, give energy to whatever is being spoken about, what that sometimes will happen is that they will, among the midst of them will be a lot of note takers for a mistake, right? And I've learned this from a very young age. Very people will remember when you're correct, but they'll never forget when you're wrong.
For real.
They'll never forget. And what I mean by that is some people want you to be wrong because this system that we've grown up in has been so successful in having self-mutilation, to where we self-mutilate ourselves by first destroying someone else. And we come up with the I problem. And the I problem is this: I don't think, I didn't like, and and it takes it out of the full contents of what the intentions are. And we've made that popular because what we've really made popular is that we've made popular character assassinations. Yeah. And there's so many character assassins. And it's funny because those individuals, they say things that generally aren't true, when they say things. And what they'll do is they'll try to confuse or try to mix in things that were never ever said. So I would just ask you all, please extend myself the same courtesy that if Lance was having you as a guest, that you would want to be taken in full contents of what your intentions were. Yes. Because we owe that to each other. Even if you are a person that you like that type of drama, and you like to create that type of, because it's very apparent when based off of what you said. Yeah. If you're that type of person, I will tell you this: you're only going to get so far past yourself before you start to trip yourself. So the greatest justice against you is going to be you. The greatest justice against you is going to be you. So, just try to be just and keep things in context and to what's being expressed. And I think that would be more beneficial to us all, So, and I will tell you, if you said I made a mistake, I'll say something about it. And I will say, and I will correct myself. Like one of the times I had the Joe Biden moment when I forgot what NATO, I forgot North Atlantic.
It's just what it's for. But look,
someone said something about it, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I said, sorry about that little, because we talked about it here.
Look, somebody might be able to quote and say exactly what the letters mean, but even if you didn't know what they meant, you know what it was. You explained everything, and that was just a brain fart. I mean, I have them all the time, simple things. And as we start the show and begin, I want to just brag a little bit about these two nice mangoes that I have here that look funny because they have the green screen going on. Yeah, these are two. Real food. I got fresh cut pineapple right here. You can't see it too good, but these big chunks, GMO free. It's gonna be nice. Food.
Man, I can't wait to partake with you in country, on continent, Lance. Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm waiting here for you, brother.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, as I was saying, when that person, I appreciated it and I laughed at it. But if you say that I said something that I didn't say, and you put it in the comments, and if I read it, I'm coming back and I'm gonna tell you where no, you're tripping. You're tripping.
See, Brother Dave, there's so many people out here that don't like to see someone else share the information from their heart, what you already know is the truth. You back it up with facts. There's so many people now that, may I say it, that have failed in their own personal life in different ways, which none of us are a failure, but some have gone for the superficial life. See, they talk about being or the dangers of the metaverse, but don't realize we're already in the metaverse, because many of us have donned a different persona.
Yeah.
And we live more through that as though it's the real thing than our actual real life. So these bullies online most times are timid. These knowledgeable ones who or act that way and can't produce, they're not going to like you. See, there's so many frauds out here in cyberspace. And when you're really living it and doing it, these people look you up and they say, whoa, he's really doing it. And all of a sudden they don't like you because you've exposed them, not because you're trying to, but the light that shines from you pulls the cover off of them and it forces them to look at themselves so they can go now and take time and research something and copy and paste it. But they can never sit here live face to face in a live stream and have a discussion with you because they're not the real thing and they don't like you for being the real thing. I encounter that on so many different ways online. Like I said, I didn't shave my head today. I didn't shave my face, but we're going to do this show. I had a lot of things doing, obstacles, good things.
Right.
But that's what we do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because this is how we live. This is not a projection. You're sitting in your office and you do your business and it's real. This is not some made up thing. And you know it for yourself. Most of the LLCs created in the United States go nowhere because most people just want to feel good to say Scurv Media LLC. Yes, I have my own business. Not that we equate the success with money, but that's all. Most of us are just happy with the facade to look like the real thing and not actually be the real thing. You see?
And we find that in so many facets of life. And it's when we talk about we're talking about us collectively. And I think that one of the things that's important, and so today's show is, the mindset of wealth, right? One of the things that I think is fundamentally important is that there's a difference between knowledge and there's a difference between schooling, okay? Schooling does not always give you knowledge, but real knowledge supersedes schooling because it's based off of past success and experience.
Indeed.
Okay? So now you have a base of knowledge, okay? You have a base of knowledge. I'll give you an example. You can have a mechanic that has great schooling, but if they don't have the knowledge of the particular position or a particular nomenclature of the engine and why the engine is doing what it's doing or what's causing a problem based off of knowledge, guess what's going to happen? Their schooling is going to have to transfer into a base of experience to build knowledge. So very important, I think that we have to realize that we've been schooled to be fools. We've been schooled to actually be subjugated and to be willing participants in surrendering our free will. We were never born. We were never born in the overall position that we've grown into. We were actually born with birthrights. And we've been schooled to give up all of our birthrights. And that's one of the reasons why we have the famines, the diseases, the wars, and the poverty and the overall chaos. The thing about civilization is that it's not civilized at all. It's not civilized at all.
Indeed.
So I think it's very important that we understand that first. If we can see that in so many facets that it's there in our lives, then what we'll be able to do is that we'll be able to have a better representation of our overall true existence.
Yes.
eternal, living being that can create life. What more powerful is that? Nothing. What more powerful is that? Nothing. I remember when I was growing up in New Jersey, you know, some of the 5%ers would come around and they said, "You be God." And I didn't really catch it as a child. And then I really caught it after hearing it, you know, so many times, and it was very true. You are very true. You are like the great creator. You can create life, and there comes a power and responsibility with that. Indeed. So that's just where we are. So, but I wanted to get into, you know, talking about, you know, just building our financial mindset is very important, because some people say that money isn't everything. I would say that anytime I hear that, I kind of chuckle inside with saying, no, money is everything. Do you know what money is?
Right.
If you know what money is quintessential. The great creator is money. The great creator is money. Why is the great creator money? Because money sustains and can create life for prosperity.
Yes.
It's not just financial. You know, it's more than that. It's much more than that. So the great creator is money. You are money. Lance is money. I'm a form of money. My talents and abilities and my physical, because what was given to me, my physical capabilities allows me to be able to create life. That's a form of money. But what we've been schooled in, Lance, is thinking that cash, a government decree saying, you know, this is currency, that's currency, this is what you can accept to buy something else. We think that buying something is money. And that's the trick. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the trick. And we think that something that man doesn't generally, in civilization, man creates currency, and currency can never be money. Okay. Well, let me rephrase that. It can be money, but then it will be currency and money. But generally, currency, the currency that we use today, the dollar bill, is not a form of money. Mm-hmm. It's a coupon. It's a coupon. And so we have to be able to distinguish what is money so that we can make sure that we never surrender our birthright to prosperity. This is why our company is called Prosperity Mint, because we continue to create life. We mint it. Yes. And so it's very important. And so what I wanted to do is I just wanted to talk about, because I know some people had asked, you know, that they didn't have a lot of cash. How could, you know, what was just some advice that would be given to them? And I wanted to talk about, I think that one of the things we have to do is build our financial mindset. Okay. And first and foremost, you have to know the difference between currency and money. Okay. You definitely have to know that. Mm-hmm. And I would always say this: in building wealth, you have to have the discipline. You have to become a prodigious saver. You cannot be a consumer. You have to become a prodigious saver first. You have to save things that are have intrinsic value. Once you do, and you have to have the discipline to do that. I know Lance will tell you his story. I'll tell you a little of my story. I remember losing everything. But you know what I didn't lose? I didn't lose my overall will to work. And I didn't lose my overall value system. And I've been saying this for years for our clients when they come to our seminars. We've been schooled to know the price of everything while knowing the value of nothing. And that is the starting point. We have to stop looking at price of anything, because price never determines value. Price generally determines transfer, what someone would be willing to allow this to go for. And that is not a condition of value. I think this is very important. Let me give you a reason why. You can have the price of something, meaning that someone is willing to part with that overall underlying, let's say an underlying asset, if you give them this, if you pay this price. Okay. Now, that is not a determination of value. Okay. And I think we talked about this before on the phone, in some of our other conversations. And how you can really see that is this, like through gentrification. Gentrification generally does not happen when white people or other people from other tribes or other communities move into the traditional Black communities. That's not gentrification. Here's what gentrification is. It's when our tribe, our Black people, don't know the value of the overall money that they're in control of, and they sell it for a price way below its value.
Beautifully said.
The person that's buying, that's acquiring that, they know the value of it. That's why they want you to be price sensitive and unaware of value. They're not going to tell you the value of that underlying asset. And they're going to deceive us generally. And this is where the deception comes. They want you to sell the house. The house is not the money. It's the land that the house is sitting on. It's the money.
Yes.
So they want you to sell the house. The house is a liability. You continuously have to take care of a house. You're going to have to paint it. You're probably going to have to fix the plumbing. You're going to have to fix anything that happens if the dishwasher goes out, if a window breaks. That's a liability.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a liability. Meaning that it can take from you at any given time, that you have to keep it up, right? The upkeep of it. The land is the form of money. You can just sit that house there and it could rot on that land. Did the land rot? No. The reason why the land didn't rot is because the land is a living being just like you and I. It just doesn't look like you and I. Well, Lance and I was talking about, we have to be careful of what we see and not be aware of the presence of life.
Yes.
And so the land doesn't rot. The land doesn't need plumbing. It may get washed out. Irrigation may, some things may happen where the land gets compromised. That's very true. But in general cases, that doesn't really happen, right? It can, but it generally doesn't happen. When you build a house, that thing is already starting to age into weakness from the very time, even before the house is finished.
Mm-hmm.
It's a liability. So what happens is that the people that know the value of things, see, value is something that you should be controlling so that it can give you a profitable return continuously or in the future greater than what you had to enter for. Now you just profited. So someone will give you a price for something, but let me ask you something. One of the things in building wealth is that you have to have the mindset to never be price sensitive, but always aware of value. And once you become aware of value, let me tell you something that you're going to start to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to start to look at your consumption as a liability to your wealth building. What do I mean by that? You're going to start to look around your apartment, your room, your abode, wherever you live, and you're going to say, I wasted an opportunity to have this that has no value when I could have used what I acquired to get this thing that has no real value. I could have got something of value, even if it was small. And as it grows, it's going to continue to pay you. So what do? Everyone, I will tell you one of the first things that you have to understand in building wealth is you have to first become a prodigious saver.
Yes.
You have to save. And I'm not talking about saving cash. I'm talking about acquiring money.
Yeah.
And acquiring money, you can do it in so many different ways, but I will give you a little tip and a little secret. You want to acquire money when the market is asking the wrong price for the overall underlying asset, because your entry profitability is determined at entry, where you enter the market, not where you exit. So if the market is saying that this homes in this neighborhood are worth $100,000, but the value of it is $2 million. Guess what? Go and acquire that if you can, because what did you do? You entered at 200,000, but the overall value of it is 2 million. You're at a profit, and that profit is probably only going to continue to grow.
Yes.
So the key to a profit is that the key to a profit is at entry, not at exit. So you want to find the things that the market is giving the wrong price for against the value of it. That's where you should enter. And I will tell you something. It's never anything glamorous. It's never anything that's highlighted. It's never anything that anyone around you would advise you most likely to get. And it's actually this: do the peer test, do the peer and friend test. You know, you find a item or an asset that's undervalued, and ask people around you, what do you think about this? And they say, oh, nah. What? Why would you do that? Probably the most profitable thing you can jump into. Because in this world, what happens through the overall mass media, the news is there to tell you what to think. And if the news is propagating something because they want you to think something that's in their best profitable interest, and I'm going to tell you, they're going to give you the side that's going to make them profitable, and it's going to actually cause you to go into financial default. They're going to tell you to buy what they're selling. And they're going to tell you to sell what they want to buy. And so we have to understand from the schooling that we get at a very early age is great schooling, and is very, very necessary from this standpoint of building wealth, but you just have to understand how to interpret it correctly.
Yes.
If the mainstream is telling you to do something, you have to have the quantified capabilities of asking the question, why are they telling me this? Why is this? Why? You know, that the question why is more important than the answer, because a question is eternal, right? Mm-hmm. You should be asking a question. Why is this being pushed? What are they saying about it? Mm-hmm. How much did they spend to say that? So what agenda are they really pushing? Because everything that is on social media, one, it tells you social media, everything that's in mainstream media, one is telling you a media, meaning is this, is being perpetuated by someone that you don't see for reasons that you really don't know, but they want you to think exactly what they're pushing to you.
Yes.
So where do we start? After we come into, okay, I get that, I thought about that, but now how do I apply that in my life? It's not hard. The fundamentals are all the same. You could talk to many people that have built wealth. They will pretty much, you'll find that the overall common fundamental story is the same. What did they do? First, they invested in themselves. Two, they started working extremely. They had an extreme work ethic. They have an extreme work ethic. 3,
Yes.
they value their energy. They don't do broke shit. They don't. So what do I mean by broke shit? I tell you, you can't sit on mainstream media in any form and facet and get hypnotized and get brought into in a catonic state to where you just sit there and do nothing. Think about the TV. Think about mainstream media. It always has someone just sitting there comatose, giving all their attention, and your attention is your energy, to something instead of moving your energy in your best interest. 1, you got to get up. I'll tell you this. If you want to achieve something, you're going to have to build it yourself. You're going to have to build that work ethic within yourself. And you're going to have to be fully committed to it. And when you do that, I'm going to tell you, 1 or 2 of them, some of those things are going to fail. But that failure is not the end. That failure is just that you just haven't learned the proper maneuvers to get the end result that you need. Lance, when you first started doing media, how many times was your sound and your audio, your sound and your video or was off?
All the time, it seemed like, until I learned.
Until you learn.
To the old stuff. And see, I cringe sometimes, but that's part of the process. We never give up. See?
Right. If you ever try to skip the overall process, then what it is that you don't want to become wealthy. You just want to be rich. And rich is one economic mistake away from going broke. Wealthy, you can never go broke. You can never go broke, right? So the process is essential, and every process for everyone else is different. Your process, you know, we found, and I found our overall process that was best for me in precious metals. You have to find out what that process is for you. And you have to be committed to that process. I remember making this commitment. I'm willing to lose everything in order to achieve one thing. And believe me, whenever you speak something, it's going to come the truth. I lost everything. But when I did lose everything, I already knew that it was a part of the process, and I wasn't going to give up. I was going to continue to do what? Continue to build. Because my overall success wasn't determined by where I am right now. My overall projection of life was 200 years, 300 years ahead of me. So where I am is right now is where I'm supposed to be. But what am I doing where I am? Am I giving my energy to very fruitful, productive processing?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at home or if you're at work and you want to start to build wealth, then there's a commitment and a discipline that you have to have. Maybe you need to work at that overall job, right, for a while to learn business etiquettes, business process, the fundamentals of running a business, right? Maybe you need to learn, are you a person that is going to need help from other people, or is it something that you can do, start small and build it up slowly, yes, and you do everything? That's it. Robert just said, the bottom line, you're going to have to invest in yourself and forget about the noise around you. One of the most beautiful things a man could ever do. Well said. That's exactly right. Regardless of what's going on around you, what is your agenda? And what discipline and energy are you willing to give to that? Are you willing to lose everything? And what does losing everything mean, Lance? Tell you what losing everything means.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to lose the things that give you the most security that is not really necessary at all? Are you willing to lose relationships? Are you willing to lose what you want to do, what you like to do? Are you willing to give up what your what you want to have for what you need? There are so many things that you have to give up to. And I always say this, the key to becoming a champion is you first have to learn how to lose.
Yes.
We talked about that before. Every champ has to learn how to first lose. So that because in that overall so-called losing process, you get to learn to deal with scrutiny. You get to learn to deal with criticism. You get to learn to deal with constructive criticism. You get to learn to deal with people around you, energy around you. I think it's very important that you end up losing. Are you willing to lose the things that you're most secure about? Right? Because if you're able to lose that and still capture and still maintain your essence of what your overall prosperous 200, 300 years journey will be, you won't be able to be stopped. You're going to achieve so much wealth. This universe I have behind me, this is my reminder. This picture that glows in the dark is my reminder.
Wow.
What do we see here? This is a sun, right? This is a living being. The sun is a living being because look, it gives life, right? Think of how powerful that is. And what happens? It's always in the midst of what? The darkness. But the darkness is necessary for that overall sun to give the light that in the radiant energy and the radiant heat that perpetuates life. It's a balance. So many of us are afraid of the dark, but we don't realize that you're not going to be able to be a light unless you're in the dark. And the same thing with finances. If you don't have a lot of cash, that does not determine that you're not wealthy. Your mindset will determine if you're wealthy or not. Because even with the very few amount of dollars that you have, if you will start to discipline yourself to use those coupons appropriately and transfer them into forms of money, guess what's going to happen? You're going to continue to accumulate more and more wealth at a pace that you may not like, that you may want to go faster, but don't try to, skip the overall process. The best thing for you to do is to be grateful for every form, every opportunity that you have to get to your overall goal. So you start off, you have $1, $2. Transfer that coupon into something that has intrinsic value, and you continue to accumulate that, and that be your savings plan. I will tell you this, you can never save in currency. You can only save in money. You can only save in money. Let me show you how that works. I had a client of mine that had a picture of a safe. In his safe, there were some valuable things, and there was some cash in it. And I said, why is the cash in the safe? Just, they laughed. They said, I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew you were going to ask me that. And I said, okay, so why is the cash in the safe? I said, well, that's what we do. We put it in the safe. That's where cash should be. I said, no. Listen to me closely. Cash should never be in the safe. Why would you put cash in the safe? Most people say, well, I don't want anybody to steal it. Okay. Well, the creator of that cash is stealing purchasing power from you every day that you hold it. So you're going to hold on to it to make sure that they steal everything from you and make it go to zero? Let me give you an example of that, because that may have went past some people.
Oh, I got you. But take your time.
The cash that you hold in the bank or you hold in your safe, I'm just using that as an example, or you hold tightly in your hand and in your pocket, you have to transfer that into something that is a form of money. Now you're getting away from being rich. Now you're moving to being wealthy, because the cash is losing purchasing power every second you hold it. Every second you hold it. So let's take this. Let's say someone had $1 million in the safe from 25 years ago. You open that safe today, that $1 million is still there. The million coupons may be there, but the purchasing power of that $1 million has gone down over those 25 years. Right? Here's how it went. Today, if you bought a house today compared to 25 years ago, Lance was in the States 25 years ago. 25 years ago, Lance, if you bought a house 25 years ago and a house today with the same comps and everything else, which house is going to be more? The house today or the house 25 years ago? The house today is going to be much, much, much more, right? So you may have bought a house for $100,000 and 25 years later, maybe $1 million, right?
Yes.
So, okay. So what really happened is that the house didn't go appreciate to $1 million. Is that the overall currency that you use to buy that house, you can't take $100,000 anymore and buy that same house anymore. What do you have to do? You got to give up more cash to get it. So what does that mean? That means that the overall cash is losing purchasing power. It's the same damn house.
Yes.
But you got to give up more cash. So it's not that the prices of things is going up, it's the overall purchasing power of the dollar is going down. So if you had $1 million in a safe 25 years ago, it's not going to be able to buy the day that you put that $1 million in that safe, is not going to be able to buy the same goods and services as it is when you open it up 25 years ago. You know what they're going to tell you? Instead of a house, you got an apartment over there that you can get for $1 million. Big difference. Big difference. So this is why you never want to save in a form of currency, because you can't. You keep it in the safe, you keep it in your bank account, you keep it in your pocket, you keep it underneath your mattress, you hold on to it. You're holding on to a facade, a coupon. It has an expiration date. They just don't put it on there. But the expiration date is inflation. It's constantly taken away from its ability to acquire goods and services. So a baseball player 25 years ago is you got to sign a contract for a baseball player. And you have a baseball player today sign a contract. What are those contracts? How are they going to look different? The baseball player 25 years ago may have signed a $50 or $60 million contract, right? 40 million. Today is $300 million contract. And everybody thinks, wow, they're making a whole lot more. No. No. It's that the overall currency is being so depreciated so much that the overall that purchasing power is different, and how you can do it. And if you go to BLS inflation calculator, you could see it for yourself. We're going to be talking about some of this at our seminars. Yes. Showing you this. So one of the things that is very important, you have to become a prodigious saver, and you can never save in a coupon. And this is the best way I can put it. If you have a coupon, remember, Lance, when our parents used to use coupons, or we used to use coupons when we used to go to the grocery stores. If we were to save those coupons, let's say we put them in a box. We have those coupons for the local, let's use ShopRite. You remember ShopRite, right, Lance?
Yes.
So you had a ShopRite coupon from the 1980s. In 2022, you go in the shop right today with a coupon from the 1980s. What are they going to say to you? Sorry, that's expired. We don't accept that.
Exactly.
It's exactly the same thing with dollars and currencies. They are going to go to zero. And while you hold on to them, they are going to zero. What should you do with your dollars? Your dollars are not really a form of savings until you convert it into something that can't go to zero. And the things that generally can't go to zero are all intrinsic value things that have intrinsic value. An ounce of silver, an ounce of gold, oil, right? Land. Those things don't go to zero. When was the last time, Lance, you ever heard of an acre of land that was going for $30 and then 10 or 15 years later is now going for $2, $1?
It always has to go up.
Always have, and if it does do that, it's for a couple of reasons. There is probably been a geological or a natural disaster or a man-made disaster that's going on there. Like in Chernobyl, you know, if there's nuclear waste there, nobody want it, you could go get it, is right there, right? But that is because of outside circumstances that have now made it uninhabitable for the people to live there.
And that's not the general rule.
It's not the general rule. You never see intrinsic value things lose purchasing power, lose value. Okay. Now, so for the everyday person, I don't want to get into people that have, you know, a significant amount of things. It's a totally different conversation on how to do that. But for the everyday person starting out from where you are, the first thing we have to change is our will. You have to will yourself into prosperity, and you have to will yourself into wealth, because there is an outside force that wants you to be economically disenfranchised. And if you don't recognize that, then you're always going to be trying to accomplish something and completely failing at every venture. You have to know that there is a system that wants you to be completely economically disenfranchised. We all know that. We feel that. We see it, right? You have to acknowledge your enemy. In order to defeat your enemy, you have to know your enemy, and you have to know your enemy's energy. What is the enemy's energy? Your enemy's energy is to take from you. So that means that you got to stop giving to them.
Right.
So how does that work? How do I stop giving to them? Invest in yourself. One, stop being a consumer. Whatever it is that you do, you have to realize that in order first for you to become a millionaire, you first have to become a penny-aire, then a dime-aire, then a nickel-aire, then a quarter-aire, then a dollar-aire, then a thousand-aire. You start taking those steps. So how do I start to do that? And in that process, you immediately start to change so you don't lose. When you gain in coupons, you move your coupons and you exchange them for real intrinsic value things. Now you're developing a savings that, God forbid, if you have a setback, you can go into that savings to get you back to where you were.
Yes.
To get you back to where you were. That's a savings. It saves you from falling.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Indeed.
So we have to come from, it's okay if you're a penny-aire. You're going to have to move yourself into a nickel-aire, into a dime-aire, into a quarter-aire, to a dollar-aire, to a thousand-aire. And that should be, that overall process is going to be the same no matter where you are. It's still going to require that you have the discipline to continue to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's going to happen? Once you become a dollar-aire, a thousand-aire, by the time you reach there, you're going to realize something. I've been wasting so much. And you know what's going to do? It's going to propel you to save even more. And it's going to propel your whole energy in your body to only to respond to things of value. I tell you this, When I go into a store, let's say I'm gonna buy a shirt, right? Well, if I'm gonna buy a shirt, I never look at the price tag of the shirt. This is what I do. I look at this. How many ounces of silver am I going to have to give up to get this shirt?
Beautiful.
And if I'm going to have to give up too many ounces of silver to get that shirt, that damn shirt ain't worth the value of what I have to give up to get it.
Exactly.
This is how you start to build your fiscal mindset. What do I have to give up to give this? And when you value your energy, I value the discipline that I've gotten to acquire the forms of money that I have. And so now I value that. So I look at some things, I'm like, what's the value in that for me? And I'll tell you, a lot of name brand stuff, it has no value at all. It just has the name awareness. That ain't valuable. Right? That's not intrinsic. And some things are intrinsic.
Yes.
And you have to know the difference. And so where do you start? Right where you sit. And one of the most important things that we have to develop in that mindset is you can't accept any excuses. You can't have a pity party. You can't have an excuse for why you're not where you are, and you shouldn't accept it, because I'm going to tell you, anything that has value doesn't accept excuses. It doesn't need to. You know why it doesn't need to? Because it's the truth, right? The truth doesn't need you and I. It stands alone. We need the truth.
Right. That's right.
The truth is you bullshitting. You bullshitting yourself. It's the only person you're going to generally harm is the people that buy your bullshit, but the person that always sells the bullshit gets harmed the worst.
There you go.
So, and excuse me for being frank. It's just, it's that's just because this system of schooling has caused us to be dependent. We have developed a financial and economical umbilical cord to our oppressor, and our oppressor is the system. It's the system itself to keep us disenfranchised because it doesn't want to compete with you.
Yes.
It wants you to give up all of your energy for their lives. So they have two, yours and theirs, and you have none.
None.
You don't have one. So how do you start? Well, you do the hard work of devising a plan, thinking about it, putting it together, energizing it, and regardless of what anybody thinks, you don't quit.
Never. That's right.
You only lose when you quit. And quitting becomes very easy when you have a bullshit excuse. Because then that's a card that we always like to play because it's comfortable. Because what happens is that we think that there is someone or the system is going to have pity, or, well, I'm in this position because you did this to me. Okay. Someone slaps you in the face. The most important thing is your response.
That's right.
It's your response. Someone economically slaps you. The most important thing is your response. How are you going to respond to it? What are you going to do? Because that's the most important. Your response is going to set up the next set of events.
That's right.
What happened to you is uncontrollable. But your response to the situation is your choice. And our choices are so powerful. And they're so meaningful. And we don't give a lot of attentionable credence to them. We just, haphazardly let them go away from us. And that's the overall. When you let those type of things go away, what happens is that you're giving away your determination to succeed. And success is never determined by monetary. Success is determined by the building of your overall sovereignty that you can have as a equitable, inheritable treasure that you can pass down for generations. You won. You won. I've never seen anyone that was able to pass down 4 and 5 generations of wealth that they themselves weren't able to partake in. It was so much, they partaked in it so much that they had an abundance that was overflowing to give even more. They see the world totally different. They see the world different because they respond to it differently.
Yes.
A loss is not really a loss. Let me show you something on my desk. You see this? Lance, from Nelson Mandela, right? It's a Nelson Mandela quote. I never lose. Either I win or I learn. Very true. It's the same thing that we were saying. We just said it in a different way. I either win or I learn. And whatever I learn, I continue to use to winning. And whatever I win, I learn from what I won. We have to look back at, okay, so we need to debrief on what we won. Lance, that's one thing that I know that is a great trait of a wealthy person, is that you go back over your successes and you look at them from, why did they work so well? You learn from your winning. And then you say, okay, well, the next time I can probably get more, I can, get more momentum if I take this out, take that person out, put this person in, or put this, or take myself out, or do this. There are so many variables because you will look at the whole totality of it with a unemotional lens, right? You look at it from a principle standing. You never let your emotions come into play. You're emotional, but they never dictate your decision making. Your principles should dictate your decision making. I'll give you some of my principles. I'll be damned if I'm gonna pay anybody before I pay myself first. I'll be damned if I'm gonna pay anybody before I pay myself first. If I'm the one that's giving out the energy, it has to be replaced in a profitable way. I have to get back more than what I gave out.
That's right.
Give it to you another way. Talked to Lance about this years and years ago. We've been taught to eat all of the fruit while not feeding your roots. You are a tree. You have to feed your roots so that you can bear fruit. But don't let anybody come and eat all of your fruit, because what you're going to do is you're going to pull out of the ground more of the nutrients and more of the minerals for you to create overall more fruit. And you know what you're going to find? That the land is not you, and it's going to do what? Stop supporting you because you're not bountiful.
Yes.
It's going to look at you as probably being diseased because you're going to start taking up all of the nutrients in there. And then what's going to happen is that you're going to have dead soil. And you're going to have a famine. You're going to have a famine. Those same principles are principles that are true in our overall daily lives, but we just forgot them. We think we need to do, go on this show and do this and do that or whatever it is. No, these are fundamental things. The ecosystem is the greatest financial model that you should be following.
That's right.
Not Wall Street. I'm not giving financial advice. One thing about financial advisors is that they are professional liars. They're professional liars. And you have to be able to determine that, right? If someone is not showing you how to do it for yourself, right? And because they're doing it as well,
Right. Right.
don't work. It's a scam. It's probably a scam. We got to learn from the last scam that got us. That's the process of becoming champ. Learn from the last scam that got you.
That's right.
Right? So principle, we have to establish principles that we will not break. One of my principles is I pay myself first, in the middle, and last, because I'm responsible for everything. Number 2, I do not spend or consume anything that I haven't saved 10 times over.
Wow.
I do not spend or consume anything that I haven't saved 10 times over. And when I spend it and consume it, I energize myself to doubly or triply or 3 times save over that period within 30 days.
There you go.
The key word is savings. And let me put a real finger on savings. What is savings? What is savings? Savings is this: something that you can go back to because you made a mistake, you had an emergency, or you have an opportunity. Savings is not something that you should be going back to because you overconsumed. If you overconsume something, you don't go into your savings. What happens if you overconsume? Here's a financial thing for me, that this principle that me. I will go bankrupt on everything else before I spend a penny's worth of my savings. I will go bankrupt on everything else before I spend a penny's worth of my savings.
Wow.
Because the savings is what? The savings is your wealth building. Do you realize when you build wealth, you become immune to debt default? When you build wealth, you become immune to debt default. You even become immune to contracts, which are laws. Every contract is a law. Whenever you write a contract, you write in law. You become immune to a malevolent contract. But you have to know how to do it. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're in a bad contract, but you have real savings. I'll default on that contract. Let him take me to court. Go to court with him. Hey, judge, what's up? Yep, David, you wrong. I said, yep, I'm wrong. Judge will look at them and says, hey, you're right. David, you got to pay them this. Okay. You know what they'll receive? Not a penny.
Wow.
Because my savings is never in my name.
Ah.
My savings is always under my control. It's not in my name. So that's why there are principal things. There are principal things that we have to learn. And we're not taught these things because we're taught only to become the workers of the system.
Yes.
Not the controllers of the system. Right? And that is something that if you start to break your ties to that, it's going to click for you because it's different for everyone else. It was different for me than it is for Lance, but principally it's the same.
Yes.
because everybody has different talents and abilities. You can't put this in a cookie cutter. You have to change your mindset. You have to realize that one thing you have to do also is you have to realize that the financial world is against you. Let me tell you the payment, the wage system. The wage of a king and a queen, every king and queen is paid in silver. The wage of a lady and a gentleman who works for a king and a queen, they get paid in gold. And the wage of a slave who works for the lady and the gentleman who works for the king and the queen, every slave is paid in debt. Every slave is paid in debt. Think about that. What is debt? Your cash, that paper, is a debt instrument. If you receive that as payment for your labor, that means the economy considers you a slave to its agenda. So what do you have to do? That means that you need to go from being slave to king or queen. And how do you do that? You can only be a king or queen if you have what? Real assets under your overall control that makes you sovereign, where the economy asks you what you want instead of the economy telling you where to be. If the economy has to tell you where to be, at what time to be there, it considers you a slave to its agenda. Now you need to know, first of all, what is my true positioning? Because if I don't know my true positioning, then how the hell can I get out of it? What did Harriet Tubman say? I'd have freed so many more if they only had known that they were what? Slaves. Just because you are right now does not mean that where you're going to be 10, 15, 5 years ago. You were born into this. You were born into this overall. But your energy and your will get you out of it. And it's not, let me tell you, it ain't easy. It's not a lottery ticket. It's not winning a prize. It is off of grind, heart, determination, and blinders. You got to have these blinders on where you don't care what goes on around you. You have to tune all of that out. You have to put up, you actually have to prevent certain energies from coming around you. And the energies that you do allow around you are the ones that ask if they can come in by invitation. The ones that try to force themselves in, right? Keep that up. So changing where our economic standings is, it's real easy. We're there because we allow ourselves to be there. And we're not willing to work as hard as it takes or whatever energy we need to put out to get to where we are. We won't commit to that. That's the difference between a lot of different levels of people. You see it with athletes. You see it with athletes. Some are more talented than others, but that does not determine their overall professional skill. Tiger Woods' professional skill, Tiger ain't the biggest. We don't hit the ball the furthest. He has all of these other elements and everything else. You know what it is? His will. You have to have the will of a king or a queen, right? If you have the will of a king or a queen, that means that you will not be denied. And guess what? You may not even need to ask for any help, because once you engage in that type of energy, the universe is already energizing everything. It's already there. You just have to plug into it, right? In most cases. Not all the cases are the same. Everybody has different degrees. So please don't think that this is a cookie cutter for everybody. The principles are, the dynamics and the overall environments are going to be different. That's what makes it so beautiful. So if you want to be wealthy, you have to choose wealth. And wealth is generally can be chosen by your discipline to be able to first understand the difference between it all. You're going to have to find out, get knowledge, not schooling, on why that works. You're going to have to apply it yourself. Then you start to understand that it is you that is already wealthy. Now you just want to build the wealth that you already have. Everybody here is already wealthy. I don't care what your physical condition is. The great creator made you to be able to sustain life and create life. Did you know that that life that you can create is also an entity? And that entity can be a wealthy entity that can actually be a prosperous endeavor for you and your generations that you've yet not named? We don't think about that. We don't talk about that. Your overall, you were born alone. You're going to make the great transformation alone. So whatever you build, you need to build alone. And it's going to be perfect. You share it with the overall ones that you love. But I would say only share with those that are willing to do what? To assist, to grow through collective prudence. Don't have someone that is just there that has an insatiable appetite that is going to be a leech. Because I'm going to tell you something. You'll never have enough. It will never be enough. And sometimes you got to recognize, are you your own leech? Are you sucking away from your true abilities? Because you always say, I never have enough. You're leeching off of your overall talents and abilities. And I will tell you, a lot of our talents and abilities were given to us by grace and by love. If you don't use what was given to you, you damn sure will lose it. You'll damn sure lose it. So, Lance, I hope we helped out. We're going to have our seminar on the 23rd. For those of you all that signed up for it, we're going to really look at practical things that have helped our company,
Yes.
myself, some real things that you can do. The 23rd of April, it's $300 for the overall webinar. And we're going to definitely have a lot of great information and practical things
Right.
that any person, regardless of where you are, can actually start doing. And I will say this. Remember this, the penny-aire, the nickel-aire, the dime-aire, the dollar-aire, the thousand-aire, the 10,000-aire. We always hear the millionaire. But started being a penny-aire. I will say this for everyone that's listening. Know that your change, your coins. Let me show you real quick. This penny and this nickel, especially depending on when it was minted, is real quick.
Yes. I'm going to hold up some Ghanaian money.
So this does not really become money until you transfer this into something that has intrinsic value, has physical standing and physical intrinsic value. Now you properly converted your currency into money.
Yes.
So remember what I said, what is the wage of a king and a queen? Silver. What is the wage of a lady and a gentleman that works for a king and a queen? Gold. What is the wage of a slave? Every slave is paid in debt. So how does the slave become king and queen? Real easy. Take your slave wage, convert it into real money, silver. Now you're starting to become king or queen. So now you have transferred something that has no intrinsic value to something that does. Now you're on the road to the small step to becoming wealthy. You didn't do it just in one trans, but when you practice this, and this is your habit, you are going to become, remember I said a penny-aire, a nickel-aire, a dime-aire.
That's right.
A dollar-aire, a thousand-aire, a millionaire, a billionaire, a trillionaire. Right? It was the process of control of assets. You use this while you still can to get real money. That's what you do. Don't use this and get something that has no intrinsic value. Now you're just the perfect consumer. And every consumer is over-consumptuous. And then what do? They go into famine. You're going to consume yourself into famine. So financial famine. And that's not what you want. That's not what you want. So, Lance, I just hope we helped and
broke it down. You broke it down.
It's a whole lot more, and we will definitely do it. If you'd like to do the seminars, $300. It's going to be April the 23rd. You can contact us. You can at info@prosperitymint.com is the email. And if you would like to partake in it, definitely there. And you could text me at 951-790-8330 here in the States, 951-790-8330. Just text me and say, hey, would like to be a part of the seminar on the 23rd. Lance, it's going to be Lance's group. And that's the only people that's going to be there is people that actually are part of Lance's audience, are the only ones that are going to be there. It's the only people I'm giving that to on the 23rd. And then we will definitely look forward to that.
Put that number out there again, because that's not, okay, wait, no, we got it.
Yeah, 951. Yeah, 951-790.
Okay.
830.
I was off. Just making sure.
But Lance, I know it's getting late on your end.
Oh, I'm supercharged right now, and I'm actually going to do a little short something a little later, but I feel good. This it's like a refresher course for me, and I'm just putting the number back into the chat room so they can see it, 951-790-8330. But even when you know something or know it partially, every teacher that teaches relearns the thing that he already knows. It's keeping him sharp.
Or she, yeah.
Yeah. So you brought me back, clarified and defined even more so, because really and truly, most of us have got to change our thinking in the way we deal with that coupon to make it real currency. And just, it's such a good thing, but they don't teach us this in school because they want us to continue being slaves. So it's never too late to be free. It's just the knowledge and what you do. There's so much that we waste. Look, when the crash in 2008 came, many people who foolishly spent their money, they took equity out of their homes and went and bought nice SUVs and threw the nice rims on it and the expensive sound systems. And then after the crash, guess what happened? They found out how much value those things had. See?
None.
And they were selling it so cheap. They needed money, they said. They went right back to the very thing that they used to get these cheap things that had no value at a reduced rate to get less. So if they spent $5,000 on those rims and they were ready to get rid of it for $500, they realized they took their money and threw it away. Their coupons, rather, and threw it away. I don't want to go through that. There have been times when I've gone through that.
Yeah.
And I've gone the hard way. And that's why I say to many people, it's not how much you make, it's what you don't spend.
Is what you convert into money.
Yes.
What you convert into money. In Lance, it's really, you have to think about it this way. when you start to want to build wealth, you start to realize and appreciate and protect the energy of your labor, because that's really what it is all about. The energy of your labor. I do not count my energy of my labor in pennies, because that is what is valuable. So if you're spending the energy of your labor on things that don't have intrinsic value, you don't respect yourself and your labor, because you're working for nothing.
That's right.
What are you really working for? Are you working for prosperity, or are you working for nothing? It's the energy of your labor. And I'm going to tell you something about the energy of your labor. I can't do what I was able to do in my teens. I can't dunk a basketball anymore. So the energy of your labor, the energy of that is going to get less and less and less. And you better have hope that you save some energy from your youth so that you can use that overall energy in a form of money later on when you can't get up and go to work no more.
That's right. That's right.
You have to value the energy of your labor. This is so important for our young people, and it's important for everyone where you are. If the last most important thing out of this is this, you better respect the energy of your labor, because if you disrespect it, there's a penalty that's unforgiving in the future waiting for you. Unforgiving.
Wow.
I want no parts of that.
That's right. That's right.
No parts of it. So that's what we're going to be talking about and showing, Lance. And
yes,
Lance, don't forget, send me the I don't know which email you want me to. I think I already sent you the invitation. I think you were the first one. Make sure you have that invitation.
Send it to me again. I have to check just in case, but just send it to me again.
Okay. I need the email.
I'll send it to you.
I saw it on there. I saw it on there when I sent out.
Okay. Okay.
Because I
get a crap load of emails, so
yeah.
I'm going to take that and push it to the side.
Yeah.
And I'll continue until then to give the information out, and I'm going to look at it and copy some of the graphics and just flash it on any show that I'm doing, just to keep pushing it out there and make a little announcement about that.
So important. The energy of our labor. That's really what it is. So, Lance.
Yes.
Thank you so much, my brother. Give me a call.
Yes.
You need something, and we'll take care of things we got to take care of. And
Thank
looking
you.
forward to it. And
thank
you. All right, my brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
It's been a pleasure, brother. Yes, we're going to talk. Okay. All right. Peace. Peace. Yes, indeed. We're going to come back with Sister Beatrice Noel. Just give us a few seconds to get things straightened up, and we're going to be right on back. Thank you, everyone. After the ban, I noticed that a lot of subscribers were taken away, and we can't have that. Okay, so make sure that you're still subscribed. Notification buttons. Just make sure that that you hit the bell and hit all of them. But maybe you might even want to unsubscribe and resubscribe. They're playing a lot of games on social media, and this channel is one of the most shadow banned channels that you want to see. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to come back in a few moments. You'll get the link, and it's going to be a good thing. So thank you all for attending, and share the information, share the show. Brother Dave was so gracious to come on and really clarify things for us, and even to motivate us. And we can never get too much of that in this world the way it is. And I acknowledge everybody in the chat room. I was so focused on multitasking, I didn't get a chance to call everybody out by name, but we'll be back within maybe another 30 minutes or so, depending on Beatrice. When she's ready, I'm going to set the link up. It's not in existence yet. I'm going to do that right now, and you'll see it pop up. But much love to you all, and I'll see you in a little while. We're going to put the work in. I had a whole week to rest. I still didn't rest, but we're going to put these shows up and get this stuff out there and come with some new stuff. Always. It might delay us a little bit, but they'll never, ever stop us. Understand that. Peace.